So, welcome to the next video in this series where we've started to build this buddy character. So in the last one we just completed the hand, and now we should be ready to start moving onto the head of the character. And this is going to be kind of fun. Yeah, this will start to now utilise every technique that we've covered in the past 4 lessons. And to start, I'm just going to sort of locate that neck area. So I'm going to go to my faces, and I'm going to select these top 4 by holding shift and clicking the left mouse button, and I'm going to extrude these up straight up to the top. So I'm going to turn on my modeling toolkit. Okay, so I'm going to mesh tools, show modeling toolkit, and I'm going to push extrude, and hopefully, okay, so it's going to be laggy there, we can start to pull that up. So I'm just going to pull this up to start with, and what we can start to do then is just go to vertex mode, and I'm just going to start to pull these in slightly. I probably should have done this before I extruded. It's not too big of a deal, and I'm just going to pull these around and pull that one just out slightly. As with this piece, and again with that, again with this one as well, just slightly bring that in to make it a bit more curved. Get this one at the back here as well, and I'm going to do the same at the top, and just start to bring those in a little bit more, which will make it feel much more natural. And I'm hoping that you're now quite used to manipulating the display, and finally we're just going to take those in a little bit, take this in as well. So then overall I'm just going to go to my scale tool. I'm just going to pull that in. So you have to excuse me again, I've still got a bad cough. There's not much I can do about it at this stage. Right, so if we go to the side, and we can don't worry about the leg, we'll worry about that later. And again, I'm just going to pull that out a little bit again. I'm going to pull that back, and I'm going to rotate this neck joint. We will be manipulating this slightly later on and rebuilding it. This is just purely for reference at this stage. So again, once that's been covered, I'm going to extrude that again, and I'm going to turn it to global. And it's really weird neck, and what we'll start to do is start to bring these parts back out later on. So don't worry too much at this moment in time. Okay, it does look weird, but we'll fix it up later. So again, if I just go quickly back to the side view, and we've got our sort of neck position around there, and that's all we need to do for that for now. We'll worry about adding more thickness, etc., to that later on. So as it currently stands, yeah, we need to do that, but we want it for height reference really. So what we're going to do is go back to object mode, and we're going to add in a sphere, and we're going to use that as the basis to start modeling our character's head. So I'm going to create a sphere. I'm going to pull that up to around this height, and from the front view and side view I'm going to select this here so we can see both at the same time. And from this section here, we just need to turn on our hardware texturing so we can see the image, and from the side, and literally in both we're just going to scale this up because it fits in roughly around the size that we want, and then we can just reposition that around there. Okay, now in our subdivision axis, I'm going to change this to 16 each. In fact, we'll go 100. Okay, and we can just go back to this view. You can select this button over here if you need to. And excuse me, I do apologise. And from this view, we're actually going to use the sculpt tools and start to sculpt the key features of our face. So what we're going to do is I'm going to turn off this wireframe mode, and I'm actually going to scale the head just down slightly, okay, which gives us room to pull that back out. So with our object selected, we're going to go to mesh tools, I'm going to go to sculpting tools and bring out this bridge here, and I'm going to select the sculpt tool. Okay, as you can see, it's quite big. If you find that your brush is too big, you can hold B, left mouse button click and drag left and right, which will resize the tool. And if I start to sculpt, now this is really good, I can add things in, but the problem is it's not happening on the other side, and essentially that is what we want to be adding in. We want to be able to add these key features and be able to have it mirrored. So we're going to go to the tool settings on this right hand side, and we're going to go down to display, border, stylus, stamp. Where was the mirror? Invert units, mirror. There we go. So go to mirror, and then object X, and then you'll see on the left hand side another dot. So we can start to really sort of sculpt in our facial features and get them revealed. So you'll see my image has one eye. In this video I'm going to do two to help you, because obviously most of your characters are going to have two eyes, whereas mine doesn't. So that should help you more than it helps me, but I think that's where we're going to have to go about it. So I'm going to take the strength down to 0.25, and I'm just going to start to sculpt an eye in. So I'm going to take roughly our center point, which is around here, and just start to pull that section out slightly, and obviously we have our nose down here, okay, and we have our chin sort of forming around this point. We just start to really bring that out some there, okay, and as you can see it looks really horrible at the moment and it will for some time, so don't worry too much about that. So we can just add a little bit more thickness to the head. If you want really broad brows, you could do that. I don't. So I'm going to pull that back in, get a bit of a nose feature coming around there, and start to pull out the cheek slightly, okay. And again, just start to pull them through. If we want to relax that, we can either use smooth or relax. I think in this case it will take a while just for it to sort of work out, but as you can see it's slowly changing, so I'm just holding down the left mouse button and striking all over that. If we go to relax, you might find it happen a little bit quicker. No, let's go back to smooth, turn the strength off a little bit, and again just hold the left mouse button and stroke around. You won't notice, it won't be so clear. If you struggle to see it, you can select this piece here, and then you'll slowly see those faces start to filter back in, okay, and eventually it'll smoothen out, okay. So again, I kind of want to take this nose in a little bit. Don't think it needs to be that big, it's a bit too obvious at this point. Again, I think the chin can probably be made a little bit smaller. So I'm going to reference some features on the face that we have behind, certainly, but at this moment in time I just want to get an idea of where the key landmarks are, okay, so an idea of where the nose is going to be, and sometimes you need to exaggerate that to be able to see it. So again, this needs to be taken back in, and I'll get the grab tool, and I'm just going to start pulling those back, and again, if that does get too distracting, you can just take it back off again, okay. So if I go back to the sculpt tool and we click invert, we'll be able to start pushing our eyes in. Okay, and depending how big you want to have those eyes, if you're creating sort of a cutesy female character, you may have really large eyes. Okay, and obviously we'll make these brow lines a lot smaller. And smooth them back out absolutely because they're looking hideous. Again, pull them back in, and that's far too much, so again we can just turn invert off and then we can just start to pull that back out. Beautiful. Okay, so again I'm going to turn invert on. It's going to start to push this area of the face in a little bit. Probably a bit too much there. Let's turn that down to 0.1. Again, you can work on either side. If you're tired of looking at it from the same angle, you can change that around. So make this bigger. Just start to push the overall size of the lower head in. Okay, I'm going to put it back out again shortly. I want to make that nose a bit smaller as well. That's far too big. Obviously it doesn't look cute. And then we can turn invert back on, and then we can just start to bring those parts back out. Let's get a nice softer cheek area down here. So again, with your face proportions, cuter characters tend to have a smaller nose to mouth ratio and a larger eye ratio. I just went the wrong way there. Again, obviously these huge brow lines aren't helping at this moment in time in achieving that look. Oh, wrong way. So I'm going to pull these back out a little bit. We'll soften these up. And we just pull them out. And again, we will start to bring this part of the face back under here. So before we do that, I'm just going to smooth it again. Now we're just creating a reference face here, I forgot to point out. So this is not going to be our final face. We're just using this to be able to quad draw over. So if you're looking at this and thinking, oh my god, this is going to look horrible, it's just for reference. So please, please, please don't worry yourself thinking, what am I letting myself into? So again, get a sculpt tool, we're going to pull these back in. Pull that back in slightly. And you can see now we're getting this lovely V shape starting to form. And it takes a while, okay? Now we have all of this excess face around here that I'm just going to hide away. So I'm just going to sculpt that back up and allow the more natural elements, the more features, defined features of this face start to take shape. And okay, we'll start to add the skull in there, as you can see. So this needs smoothing again. As I say, you'll find it's forever a combination of editing, smoothing, editing. So again, if you struggle to see that, you can always turn this section back on. Let's turn the spacing back down so we can turn the strength up. It might happen a bit quicker, and you can just slowly see those sections start to smooth out. I think at this stage I'm just going to go to show and isolate that selection just to hide the rest of it. Okay, it's all still there, it just stops it getting in the way of us turning around this object. And while we're working on that, I'm just going to turn that off again and just check that. Again, then we can start to iron out this area under here. As I say, it takes time. and practice. And I'm going to bring that chin in underneath, I think. Probably bring these eyes out a little bit. So again, if you've got reference imaging as well, follow your reference images. As I say, I'm sort of going off the cuff given that I don't have the right image for obviously for helping you guys in your own characters. So again, we can smooth these eyes out now. As we're relaxing that, you can see a much more nicer, much more organic looking face start to open up. So I'm going to get the, as I say, which bit should we do? I might pull the cheeks out just a little bit. Okay, I'm going to turn invert off, and I'm going to start pulling these sections out just to make them a little bit softer. Okay, you can start to see them form. Got a nice little nose there that we can pinch out, and I'm just going to hold B, drag in, make my brush smaller. I want to pull out the chin, but just a tiny bit, just honestly just a tiny bit, just to make it a little bit more cutesy. But not too much so it looks like I've got a huge chin. Okay, and actually I'm going to take, now I've inverted that, I'm going to take that back in slightly, just around here, just gets a little pinch, which is looking nice. And with the head, I think I'm just going to bring it out really subtly here. Make my brush bigger, turn invert off. And again, if you don't want to do too much disruption, just turn your strength down. Okay. So 0.05 now. As you can see, we started off really strong, and we've slowly just brought it further down and further down and further down. Okay, and we can just start to bring that head up. Till we get a shape that we're happy with. Again, so we've got a bit of a weird bit happening here, which means we'll need to smooth it out again. In terms of the overall shape, I probably want to bring these sections in to the eyes a bit more. So I'm going to smooth the forehead, and I'm going to bring this part in. Again, this is going to be specific to your own character design, not necessarily this one. So you'll have to use your own judgments, okay? But while you're practicing, certainly you can follow this. But for your own character, you will need to think about that yourself. Where are these things going to apply? Where are they going to be needed? So now we're smoothing that out again, and it's looking pretty cool. Cool, we've got that little bit extra meat around the forehead here. I'm just going to quickly go over these sections again, so it looks a little bit nice when I look at it from the side. Okay. And I'm just going to relax that area again a little bit, and then go back to the sculpt tool and pull it out slightly, just a tiny bit. Okay, and so getting the balance for these is an art itself, and it's something you'll definitely pick up as you go along and you progress. So sculpt tool, and then I'm going to go to invert. I'm just going to take the sides of these in slightly. Okay, till we bring that into the eyes. So again, there we go, we're starting to get that taken in. And you just want to keep going so you've got a shape that you're happy with, really. So we're starting to get those features of the skull in there now. The cranium at the back there. And go to smooth again and start to smooth it back out. And that'll soften it up. And I'm going to start to bring up now this section. I'm probably going to, because this is meant to be the cheek really. The eye's meant to sort of sit around this area, and this bit is the cheek. So what we're going to do is I'm going to actually, I'm going to bring this section up around here just to, and probably push this section in a tiny bit. But again, this could cause more disruption. If you're ever worried about creating disruption, you want to keep something the way it is, you can always push Control D, duplicate. Obviously you need to turn your show off to get that, select it again, hide the selection if you feel that you might cause too much disruption. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So again, we can sort of see how that head's sitting in there. I'm going to push Control D, push W, pull that out. So if I've got something to go back to, I'm going to go back to select the original head, go back to eyesight selected, go view selected, and go continue to work on this model. So I'm going to bring up this cheek section here to start with. So I've got my strength on, I'm going to take inverted off, okay, and I'm just going to start painting and sculpting around, adding sculpts around here. I'm going to turn my brush down and I'm just going to start adding into this section, okay, just make it a little bit more meatier around here. You can always push the eyes back in as well, don't forget. So again, if we go to the side, start to see that cheek revealing itself, and we want to probably push the middle parts here in slightly just to have a bit more definition around the nose. Okay, again we can just start to push that back, and again in a minute we're going to smooth it all out again, and I mean these looking quite forward now. Yeah, I mean they're looking really exaggerated, so if we go to smooth and we'll take that brush back up a little bit, and then we'll just start to paint over that, and you'll see that it's averaging it out again now. It's a lot softer, it's a lot nicer, and you can see where our mouth's going to be. Our cheeks are starting to certainly feel more raised forward. And I think our nose is probably a little big as well. For that really cutesy sort of look that I'm trying to go for. So I'm going to take it back in, just move, and I'm going to put it back out again. This time with a smaller brush. Take the brush down, and you can see that it starts to bring it out. So again, probably start around here, and just start to define that a little bit. Make it a little bit softer, a little bit nicer. I'm going to take this part back in as well, so I'm going to invert that, and I'm just going to see how that looks. Just have to define it a little bit more. That's looking quite nice. There we go. Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to make a little space for the mouth in there, and then obviously we can lead that onto very softly onto the chin. And again, the great thing about this is we can smooth, we can pull back out, and that actually allows us to keep in control of what we want and get us a really nice shape to build around when we start using quad draw. And a lot of the effort and a lot of the work would have been done at this stage, as opposed to playing around with polygons like we have done with our figure and trying to tidy it up. So again, it's still looking quite manly. You know, again, if we took the whole chin up, we'd probably find it look a little bit more cuter, especially if it had a smaller area around here. That's not to say that this can't look good and can't look cute. The cheeks are quite far out as well, which can be a good thing, can be a bad thing. It just depends on what you're after. But I can certainly visualise a female character out of this with the softer, smaller features. Okay, and that's not to say that a woman can't have larger features. She can. But again, I'm going for a sort of cutesy type face here. So let's see. Let's bring this out just a little bit again. Let's uninvert that. As I said, just really, really subtle. There we go. We're starting to get these really nice pinchy features showing now. Really nice curve. And I'm starting to feel quite happy with that. Probably just going to tidy up the back of the head a little bit again, going back to smooth. Just tidying that up. And this smoothing out is an important process to go through. And we will certainly be using it again when we complete the model, because it just tidies everything up. Everything blends just that little bit more nicer with it. So kind of got our head shape there. So again, study schools as well, take a look at them. I mean, the back down here could probably be brought in a little bit, but I just think overall for now, that's at a stage that I want it at. I think the cheeks are probably drawn a little bit too far down there. So I might want to bring them up around here. Yeah, just got to be a little bit careful, don't want to go overboard, as it's so easy to do. Just going to invert and just take them in slightly around here. Again, just very quickly you can see that's had the opposite effect of what we was aiming for. But again, we can smooth, we can tidy, we can pull back out. It's the beauty of this. Actually, I'm just going to try and take this back up slightly. See what that looks like, yeah. And why not experiment? You know, just try something, see if it works, see if it doesn't. It's not the end of the world if it don't work. We can just go back. We've got our other reference that we made a copy of a while back. So I'm just wondering, with that there, with a smaller mouth, if we just take this back as well. Certainly if we get the grab tool, we can just pull that section right up. Yeah, there we go. And you can see now that we can start to create a neck out of that as well. And don't worry, we're going to smooth that out to sort of just tidy that again. But there we go, yeah, there we go. It's more, that's getting there. Right, so we smooth. Sorry, if we click grab to get smooth, we can just smooth these back out. Don't worry about detail on the neck, you won't see that. And we start to model, and excellent. So I'm going to pull the neck out again. Again, you're probably thinking, God, not again. Not the neck, sorry, the chin. Oh, I'm on invert, so let's undo the last couple of steps there. We just have a really nice sort of chin for all of that to lead into. I'm just going to get the grab tool, so pull those bits in. In fact, let's use the sculpt tool, go to invert. We'll just pull those. Oh, too much. Let's add a bit of thinness there. Just get smooth. We'll bring them back out. Just going to make that brush bigger, so we cover a larger area. And I think I'm almost ready now. I think I'm happy with that. Yeah, I think I'm happy with that. And that's going to be our the piece that we build our mesh onto. Now I'm just very quickly going to turn the edges on, and I'm just going to push this section in again for the nose. So very small brush here, very small, and I just want to take this section in. Okay, now you can see it's probably a bit harsh, but we can smooth that out again. I just want to really define where that nose is, because it's going to make it easier when we're drawing on. There we go. Okay, look at that. That's perfect. Again, we can just try and make that tip a little bit. Just Control Z and undo that. There we have it. That's what we're looking for. Okay, now with the smooth, just gonna smooth that out around here. So she's just there. But I do want to keep that nose nicely defined. So again, if we just take that off, just turn that off a little bit, smooth that back in. And yeah, there we go. I think we're ready. I think we're good to move on to the next step. Okay, Right. So, just before we move on, if some of you are feeling like you want to have a bit more fun and just play around with the sculpting toolkit, I recommend just playing around with some of the tools, and you can add any kind of wacky type of thing in. So I'll just use bulge there. Again, if we invert that, turn the strength down to about 1, and then we can just start to add some crazy type of bunny ears in there, you know, it's very quickly. I mean, obviously this needs a lot of tidying up, but again, just very quickly you can just create and add anything to your sort of characters. Again, if it gets smooth in there, then you know we can start to bridge that back up. And again, it's a really cool sort of fun way of just playing with some of the tools and some of the features that we have here. So so very quickly I've got bunny ears, and let's just undo all of that. Probably should have made another model. If you want to, I think, is it this one? Imprint, yeah, you can create this kind of crazy looking hair. If you turn the strength of that up as well, obviously it will go bigger. Probably not that far. You know, you can add some kind of really crazy looking features in here. Let's go on the back of the head there, you know, if I get 2 points, that kind of thing. Obviously you can change, I think you can change the stamp as well here. So if we double click this, and we can select any kind of different pattern if you want this crazy thing here as well. And how this is going to look, I don't know. Again, you get some really weird looking shapes, and you can create your own stamps as well. We've got spray, which is create some kind of weird afro-y hair. So I know some of you are kind of thinking about that, you know, in terms of some of your characters. Again, if you want to add a mohawk, or just kind of, in fact, actually, yeah, let's make that brush smaller. If you want to add a couple of mohawks down the side, you know, you can do that. Okay, it's kind of fun, but we'll come back to that kind of feature later on. For now, this is just our reference model. Right, so same thing as before. This time I'm going to use quad draw, and the thing that we want to do with quad draw is highlight the key edge flows that are going to help with our animation. At this level, at level 3, we don't need to worry too much about that. You're not going to be expected to animate the face. I just want to reiterate that it's going to be purely body mechanics that we're going to focus on. So what we're going to do is select this as our live object. So we're going to select the face, we're going to go up to our magnet up here, and that'll be our live object. We're going to just turn off our isolated selection. I'm going to delete that now because I don't need that. As you can see, our head's really small. Don't worry about that for now. I mean, in fact, actually, we can just make it that little bit bigger. So select it, well, unmagnetize it, select it, get scale, go from the center here, and just pull that up. Okay, till you sort of get that size that we want. So let's go front view, and yeah, I'm just going to measure that out. Okay, around about there, that'll do. So I'm going to go back, and we'll try it with show, but I don't think quad draw will show up on show. So if we go back, and so basically what I've done there is just gone to show, isolate selected. We need auto load new objects, that's on. So hopefully, fingers crossed, our quad draw will show. So let's go down to the modeling toolkit. If you can't see it, just select this little hammer here and it'll turn it off and on, and go to quad draw. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the sort of eye, I think. Or should we start with the mouth? We'll start with the mouth. Now what we want from this point here, this crease. Yeah, we can't actually see it. I've had a feeling that would happen. Okay, it's now loading there, so let's, what we didn't show before, let's go to, oh, let's try it once more. As I said, I don't think it's going to work. Don't target wide, I want quad draw. Oh, okay, let's go back. Object mode, that's our live surface. Quad draw. Oh, there we go. Okay, it's going to show us. Right. So from this nose down, I'm going to set in the key lines for you. Okay. We're only going to draw one half of the face, by the way, because we're going to duplicate the rest. Yeah, it's not going to let me edit the existing parts that are there. That's really annoying. Okay, so we are going to go back in. So at this point, I'm just creating a circular point for them. It's going to go around the mouth. Let's just go off show. See, now I can edit it. Okay, that's a bit annoying, but we can turn it back on when we want to add more geometry in. So at this point, we can just take that to about there. And we can just start to pull these around. So this isn't the mouth at this point. If we push control, we can just add another line in there. And we just start to add that in. We may make them smaller later on, like have less pieces, but for now, I'm quite happy with that to be there. Okay. And this outer line here is going to be the boulder around our cheek. So when we sort of smile, that crease will appear around this line in theory. So the second line we're going to add in is around. Alright, so there's two bits for the eye. We have our inner piece, okay, which is our eyelid, and we have our outer piece, which is these big muscles that flow all the way around his face, around here. Okay, so I'm going to just go ahead and I'm going to add several pieces in for the inner eye. I'm going to tidy them up in a second. At this stage I'm not getting too fast. I don't want to draw too many because obviously that just makes us get messy, but I do want enough to be able to sculpt an eye shape with. I'll draw an eye shape with, I should say. I'm just going to pull this right out. Right. So we've got our inner eyelid there. We just want to kind of clarify where those joints are, make sure we've got enough matching top and bottom. So I'm going to set those two as the creases of the eye. Then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wicked. So I'm equal. So yeah, just going to move them around slightly. Okay, and once we've got that, we're going to draw in our figure of 8. So we know you want them to sort of join around here. I want it to follow around the eyelid. We want to create that sort of that round, that muscle around that, which will drive our frowns and our moods and that kind of thing. And oh, So I'm going to try and follow the faces that we have here, as that will allow us to stitch them back together really nicely. And then obviously we've got the centre of the nose that we can build up. And obviously this will match up once we copy it over for this side. Okay, and that's with this. So that's looking cool. We've got our key flows almost in there now. We will probably just add a little bit more in there. So what we're going to actually is just redirect this part here for this cheek. I'm not totally happy with it actually. I'm just going to delete that face. I'm actually going to take this down, have it actually coming down near the chin, because our crease for our smile doesn't actually go loop all the way around. So it leads down around here and builds up down that way. So yeah, I'm just going to tweak that there. And obviously for our mouth, just going to add in these sections, sort of here. So our lower lip is usually thinner than our upper lip, so we can make that a little bit smaller. So I'm just going to, I've kind of deleted a piece there, I think. And that'll be centre bit, and obviously we can add more lines in if we need to later on. But for now, I think that's how we're going to leave that. So we've got our key landmarks in, which obviously will help us later on, especially when we want to draw and add objects in. So we've got our key muscle and cheek around the eye. We have our crease for our smile. We've got our lips in, and yeah, it's going to look pretty cool. So for today's lesson, because we're already sort of hitting 40 minutes this week, I'm going to leave that there. The next session, the next tutorial will go up over the next few days, and I expect you to come back and work on that in your own time in the hours that have been allocated outside of your contact hours, but are still meant to be used for your college hours. And in a couple of weeks' time, you've got your assessment, so you need to be working on those other sections. But so far we've identified our key areas. In the next lesson, we're going to bridge all these together, finish the rest of the face, and get that. And then in the session after that, we're going to tie the arms, the legs, and the neck together, and sort of finish off the character. Okay. So cool. Good luck. I look forward to seeing what you come out with, and email me or show me what you have as you do it. Okay. Yeah.